I'm going to do another video. Hello everybody. This is hopefully it reaches some of the major comment responses that do upset me, because some of the people who liked and loved on those comments have been with me a long time, which makes me disturbed. That do you ever listen to anything I say? Or have you ever really, truly watched any of my videos? So this is a big video. This is a big video. We're going to get into four major topics that were important to many of you. I can take all the shit slinging in the world. I take it, I listen. It's been done even way larger scale than this. I answered 1,400 Republicans calling me every name in the book after 8 years of following Donald Trump, reading all of his books, everything, all of his political. That's what got me onto it. I obviously love politics, I love policy, and I enjoyed Donald Trump. I enjoyed him tremendously on all the things he said. I enjoyed his presidency all the way through. It was disheartening to watch him go down. What was even worse was the last 3 months where he carried over post-election, and he went too far. He went too far. Sorry. That's why I tag Donald Trump Jr. and I tag the account of Donald Trump, so that maybe somehow his son will carry this over. If they listen, Kelly Knight Crafts here too. Her husband was the coal king of USA, and I spent most of my life in coal, so yeah, devastated, right? So of course I'm going to gravitate to that particular Kentuckian. And okay, so we're going to get through the four comments that all of you, a lot of you, maybe not those now, but a lot of people liked, loved, commented on, and it just shows that obviously the truth hasn't really hit a lot of people. First and foremost, Ukraine and Russia. In this world today, Kelly Craft, you're tagged, Donald Trump Jr., your father, you get it to him if you do. If you don't, you don't. You never see this, that's fine. The reality is, Ukraine and Russia, both of them have never, ever signed or ratified the Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. This is bad, bad, bad. If you haven't read the Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, you can thank both Russia and Ukraine for the reason why the world's in the state it is today. This is the number one international agreement that must be bound, ratified by all five, which means Russia. If anyone champions Ukraine, they're bad. Who's doing that? Yes, Joe Biden and the Democrats. I have written a tremendous amount to the American government, both under Donald Trump and currently Joe Biden today. I challenge for the Declaration of Human Rights, only by Russia because they're a P5. If you all don't understand what that means, you have no business talking about civil, charter, any rights at all in this world, because we haven't enshrined serious, monolithic human rights worldwide, and nobody's following it. People talk about the UN General Assembly. Oh, it's corrupted, it's broken, blah, blah, blah. I know. I've read every binding law, world binding law. I've also read every presentation agenda, you name it. Every single one. I wrote a paper to Oxford using economics. I merged law and economics, first one to do that, by taking every single presentation in the General Assembly by every nation ever, every single one. And I calculated which ones were bound into law, which ones were scrapped. And then I took each nation and I made a formula on who's going to do what. Where those nations come from, I spent years on this. Years. Way ahead of a lot of people, even the strongest academics in the world. I don't care who believes it or not. The reality is, my paper went through to Oxford. A lot of people took notice. A lot of the strongest, best minds in the world took notice. Not to brag, has nothing to do with my IQ or any of it else. It has to do with hard work, grit, determination. I put over 2 years into it. I did that. That was on me, on my own. I wanted to know how the world works before I went any further. Because when I did Alberta independence, something wasn't right. Our political system wasn't right. Is Canada really that polluted, that corrupt? Are Canadians this institutionalized, this corrupt? I got my answer. I found out absolutely calculable. I could swing it over into math, which is the language. I'm a monolinguist. I've tried to learn other languages. I barely hold on to English. As funny as that may sound to all of you, I barely hold on to it. What I hold on to is math. That's where I gravitate to, is math. I always had a strong suit in math. That's where I go. I merged the two. Somehow I always had a way of looking at law, the way it's formed. Didn't matter where it's from. I have no problem going through definitions according to each country, through their definitions, through their encyclopedia. I've always done that. I wrote this paper. It went well. Even though I didn't win the competition against the best minds of Oxford, which I never went to Oxford. I don't even have a degree in law, but I was invited to write for it. Didn't matter I didn't win. I didn't expect to win anyway, but obviously I was shortlisted because it took a long time to get a decision. It went through the hours past the due date before the decision came back. That's okay. I don't mind. What I do mind is when people talk about things, especially politicians, and we're today going to look at the United States of America, specifically former President Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden went for Ukraine, his son in Ukraine. Yes, all wrong. But what about you in Russia? Why did you, while you were president for 4 years, you had the power, even in your opening 2 years, you had full control of all government. And Canadians, I know you don't understand what I'm talking about, but Americans understand what I'm talking about. House and Senate, absolutely Donald J. Trump. Why did you not put the pressure on Russia then to sign the Declaration of Human Rights in 1948? The one document that would have solved all the problems in the world, hamstring China, who's already signed it. Richard Nixon ensured that China signs it. Canadians, if you haven't read it, get off your perch, your rock, your stupor. Go read it. This is how the world's supposed to run. But it doesn't run that way because we haven't got Russia to sign on. Anyone championing Ukraine, they never signed on either. And they are former Soviet Union. This is particular to Russia and the former Soviet Union countries, whether they're independent today. You can't give grace to Russia or the Ukraine if they haven't signed the Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Why would you? Why would you ever? This is what I put forward to the Biden administration. It's what I put forward to Donald J. Trump, his administration. I was blocked, isolated. Obviously, Kelly Craft read it, but was hamstringed too. Sorry, Canadians, any Americans watching, this is reality. If you haven't read it, Americans, if you love America and you haven't read that, I don't know what to tell you. How could you ever pick one of those sides or the other when it's a tremendous blow to the world and liberty? A tremendous blow. Now, Joe Biden's talking about it right now. Will he do it? If he does, great. If he doesn't, another crap politician. I can't control that. I am not an American. I have no say in that. All I can do is push it forward. Today was tremendous with Joe Biden. It was groundbreaking. It seems they are listening. They are hearing these works. It's getting to them. I can't say the same for Donald Trump. Pipelines. Pipelines. A lot of you come at me with pipelines. You say, oh, you piece of shit. Literally calling me a piece of shit. Joe Biden destroyed Canada and all the pipelines. It's all Joe Biden's fault. Okay, that brings me to third point and the second point. We're going to put them together. Interprovincial trade. Why do we not have pipelines, not only for oil or crude or synthetic or natural gas? Why do those not go right across east to west coast? Why do they not? Canadians, blubbering fools who are going to attack me, especially those who've followed me a long time. Do you even ever look at things as they are? This is the pipeline route. Here is Alberta. We're blocked at BC. We're only allowed a shallow port that goes to California, Washington, and that's it. That's all we have. That's it. We clean all of the fuel used in California, which they used to be a dirty, red, gray, brutal ozone depletion system because of the density of population of California. And Edmonton, Alberta, which is my home city where I reside, has an exclusive, the only one of its kind, EnviroFuels, which I've participated in many years, many times. It was built in 93. That is what provides the clean, super clean octane fuel for California. It's why they don't have a smog layer. Do you know what pipeline does that? The shallow port pipeline, Trans Mountain, that everyone's fighting with, which is Democrat. Keep them clean. Canada cleans. We take the carbon out. We have our great, tremendous boreal forests in Alberta. I've talked about this for 4 straight years. So some of you have followed me for a long time. That's tremendously terrible that you don't know this. I've only spoke about it, I don't know, 1,000,000 times, maybe. It's been brought up. I don't think I've ever not brought it up. Pipelines. So that's just the West Coast. We don't want that anyway. We could care less about that. Canadians, oh, what do you mean? Trans Mountain Shallow Port Pipeline? On the coastal, down south, can never leave the continent of North America or South America. Can never leave. Your product can never leave coastal waters. And we use Aframax, the smallest, lowest quantity of transportation for our crude products. We can't go any bigger than that in Canada. And guess what was ruled already? Again, I've said this 1,000,000 times. On the world stage, world binding law, every country follows this, supply value chains. Canada has to have large capacity, low sulfur diesel, which means massive tankers, at least Suez Max. Without Suez Max, we can't do the Suez Canal. Canadians, guess how many Suez Max tankers you have? Zero. You don't build them west. You don't even have a deep port west. That's called Northern Gateway. There is a place, just like Loop, Louisiana in the United States of America, in northern BC off the west coast, where you could build that. And there's a First Nations group there off an island in those deep waters, perfect like a loop, Louisiana. No radical shore crazies, no ever any kind of environmental impacts have ever even hit that coast in the history of Canada. No tsunamis, no hurricanes, none of it. That's there, and there's a group of First Nations that would love to embrace something like that. But that's not Canada, not our provincial leaders, our autocrats, which are absolute autocrats, and not a single prime minister of any party ever elected. That is never to happen, because we can't free First Nations people, we can't address the claims, and we can't let Canadians truly be free. We can't give them liberty. We can't let Canada be a world player. That's the West Coast. Okay? That gives us Suezmax, 2 million plus capacity tankers, making us competitive just on the West Coast to any country in the world. They'll all take our oil, possibly even LNG. But we don't have the capacity to do it. Canada doesn't want to do it. The government doesn't want you to do that, because that would mean freeing the First Peoples, freeing Canadians, settling all the claims, freeing four-fifths of Canada to every Canadian. We're not supposed to do that, I guess. That would interrupt other countries and the other powers of the world foreign interests. We can't do that. Can't do that. Because that would mean being a country. Now, you ready for the rest of Canada? Are you all paying attention? So, we go from Alberta, we go into Saskatchewan, we start going down. Southern Mountain, boom. We take off to the United States of America. All our product goes down into the U.S. in an eastern hub. It's all processed, refined, and then it shoots up, which is what the pipeline crisis for Ontario is right now, where it gets used in the east. Well, some of the east, not the Atlantic provinces. No, sirree, Bob. They have to buy American, absolutely. Okay? Now, why is that? Why do we drop down, sell at a huge reduction in price? Because we're not allowed to cross Quebec and Ontario like this. We're not allowed to cross Quebec and Ontario. No, sirree, Bob. Nope. No west to the East Coast. There's no way in heck we're ever going to do that. Now, no country in the world operates like that, but Canada does. Whose fault is that? Canadians, please raise your hand. Whose fault is that? Is that Joe Biden's? Is that the UN? Is that multinationals? Is that billionaires, perverts, whatever you want to call them? Whose fault is that? There is Energy East, a proposal to go straight across Canada. Crazy, right? Then we link entirety of Canada. We could even branch off up north to our territories. Well, that would mean settling the First Nations claims. Oh yeah, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Oh geez. Brings me into the next topic, First Nations versus the American Indian. American Indian has 100% say over their natural resources above and below ground. Federal government settled all that, gave them tremendous land. They had a war in the USA. American Indian War. The USA's had lots of wars against all colonials. They had to fight them all. The current map of the USA, that map was made by fighting every colonial power as the independent nation USA, starting with states. They're the first example in the world, the only true example of independence, sovereignty, and amalgamation. If you guys had into union. If you can't look at that, what Africa is doing right now, they've tried since post-World War II. They're trying to get there just like America. They're next up. They're doing that. Canada, wow. 0 regional constitutions, over 200 years, 250 years behind the United States, 50 states, some of those states, 13 of them at least, 250 years older in constitutionalism. Older. We haven't even got there yet, the baby step. Haven't even got there. It's okay. We don't have to have real interprovincial trade. It's okay to run the upper and lower Canada. It's okay to commit a mass genocide. The American Indians settled in the USA. They have 500 times more land than the First Nations people in Canada. And I divide out Métis out of that. When I talk about this portion of First Nations, I'm talking about treaty, whether unceded or claims outstanding, the absolute First Peoples who've been treated the absolute worst. Absolute worst. Canada threw a bone to Métis in some regions, some areas. Some of the First Nations, when you get east, for Westerners watching, when you come east, some of the First Nations are right from Great Britain who fought the war for Great Britain against the USA. Against the USA. Independent USA. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's where their treaty comes from. Right from UK, which is not even acknowledged now. They don't realize that. That's the East. There's all the unceded British Columbia, massive portions. Atlantic Canada, massive portions. All we can do today is take the interior, make the settlement. That's all we can really do. We won't displace anybody. We won't commit an atrocity to right an atrocity, no matter what people think. I've been through this. The West and the East are radically different. The treaty lands, you can't be within a kilometer of a waterway, a river. It's all crown land. You can't be on it. That's just the way it is. Now there's some government parks that differ. Some lakes government park, classified. But reality is that's how the Western treaties run. You go out east, not nowhere near that, not even close. That's why there's so much pollution in the rivers and waterways in the east. I see it myself. Been all through Ontario now. I've seen it myself. Our last portion, what people get on. Now that you've heard about pipelines, you've heard about First Nations, you've heard about Ukraine, you've heard about Russia, is now, what was it? There's one more big one that's got to be talked about. Somebody should help me. Somebody look at my title and tell me what the last point to go through is. I see there's no, not okay. Makes me so very sad, yeah. I can't remember the last point. I guess we're going to have to cut the video there, and I'll have to do another one unless someone pipes up. That's it, I guess. Maybe I did hit them all. I hope I did. Maybe I did because I combined the two. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. That's my video. Oh, Constitution. I did interprovincial trade. Independence. Mass independence, USA. Thank you. That's the last one. Canada is nothing like the United States. And I did get a little into it. United States had to fight against colonial powers of Spain, Portugal, Britain, and even France, even though France came in the War of Independence. USA went through it all, almost all the colonials, to get independent America. Canada only went through two, and one of which sought supremacy over and above that, well, all the way to World War II. That world doesn't exist anymore. Joe Biden told you all that today. He told you that all today in that video. Canada is in violation. Canadian politicians are in absolute violation. When police arrest somebody and say, I'm sworn to the Queen, I did this because of the Crown, that's not legal in this world. And when a cop says that, that's bad juju. USA is most certainly waking up. Joe Biden sees it. He may not know me, but you know what? His administration, the greatest minds in the United States, are seeing, feeling, hearing it. When you all use those hashtags, it really does go to the best of the best. And it gets back to their government. They're paying attention. That's real. There's real, there's fake. There's what Canadians want to believe. Blame the world for everything. It's right here at home. It's how your government operates in Canada. It's what they do. It's what they negotiate. How they deal you, which we the people don't exist in the Canadian Constitution. We don't. We have a very limited crown-embedded colonial constitution. World illegal today. USA is waking up to it. Russia's awoke to it. China is going to get awoke to it. UK is awoke to it. I don't know about France yet. I got more work to do there. We'll see. We'll see. That's my video. Take it for what it is. Share. If you don't, that's good too. I am getting the bad apples out of my tree because it's not going to help us move forward. I've routinely done this. I have to do it. I'm not a populist. I'm a realist, and I tell the truth in absolute. Wake up, Canadians. Stop blaming the world for your problems. It's your government. It's your system, your broken constitution in this confederation. You need regional constitutions. Everybody else with regions has them, except you. That's the big C. We don't have big C in Canada. We have a tremendous little C. Runs the whole works in full autocracy. Worse than the UK, or equivalent possibly, but probably worse, because they hide behind the crown, which isn't utilized in the UK. So it's Boris Johnson or whoever is elected Prime Minister. They assume those powers, and everybody knows it. He doesn't get to play hide behind the Queen. Canada hides behind the Queen. Your politicians use the Queen as their pillar to get all of you to run the other way. All of these narratives left and right, these radical, crazy QAnon, left crazy environmentalists, it's all to lead you to fall flat on your face. We're not America. Don't follow America. They have we the people. We don't have that. We don't have that. You're subject to the autocrats, and you empower them. When you fall flat on your face with the bullshit narratives, you empower them stronger than ever. Ever. That's what you do. That doesn't happen in the United States. Their constitution restricts it. Doesn't matter if you're president all the way down. You're not going to get away from the Constitution of the United States. One of the most powerful constitutions there is in the world. For the people. Regardless if the politician's a loser. Regardless, you can literally have a dumbbell. In a lot of states in the United States, you can have the biggest dumbbell. They can't get away with nothing. Nothing. But yet here in Canada, you elect a crazy, you're going to get an autocrat with tremendous power. You have a whole bunch right now. And that will continue as long as you ignore constitutionalism. As long as you stay old as mud in a broken system from a world that doesn't exist anymore. That's Canada. Nobody's fault but yours. Stop blaming the rest of the world. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not all these countries' fault. It's not China's fault. It's your politicians' fault. It's your broken system that everyone can exploit just by corruption alone, paying the politicians. That's reality. That's my video. Share, share, share. Don't be a fool.